welcome to another React King video. Now, today we're reacting to Sandman, legendary YouTuber from the land of YouTube. I was sent this video by someone I know in a close circle of mine. They wanted me to do a video on it, so we're doing a video on it. Let's see what he has to say.
Everyone, Sandman here. This video was brought to you by a donation from Mr. Anonymous, and here's what he has to say. Hi Sandman, this is a warning. This is a long letter. I just wanted to thank you for doing what you're doing. When I somehow magically stumbled upon your channel, I'd given up on life and was contemplating suicide. It should come as no surprise to you that this is after I flushed down the toilet my ex-wife-to-be. When I first met this harpy, she turned out to have another man's baby inside her infernal uterus, and I accepted this, being wildly in love with her. I helped her through her pregnancy and childbirth.
My guy. Meet a girl who's pregnant. Wow.
I even cut the umbilical cord after witnessing a small baby head tearing her apart. With the shock-ridden post-traumatic grin on my face. The father wanted nothing to do with her or his new daughter, so I basically became the spare dad.
Spare dad. Jesus.
A couple of years later, she threw me out of the apartment that we rented after we had a big fight, because I told her about a woman I work with and how she had a great singing voice. I also had both arms broken and was in a cast after an accident when this happened, and I had to crash at work to avoid sleeping outside. Insanely enough, I met up with her after 6 months and her pie hole became a black hole that locked onto my chubby custard launcher, and after lots of throat magic, I was literally sucked back in. Then she...
There it is, boys. There it is, boys. That's how all drama is started, right there. Right there. Right there. The custard launcher. That's how it starts.
Revealed that she had accidentally gotten pregnant with some African immigrant that had lots of kids with lots of other women. Apparently this is considered a good thing in his culture. Anyways, I had to help her get an abortion because she was asking around for amphetamines and other drugs that could possibly kill the baby.
My God, this is dark. This is dark. This is dark. Holy God.
And what do you know? After all of this, I got back together with her. I missed them both as I'd gotten to care a lot for her daughter as well and wanted to give it another chance. After a couple years, I started noticing some changes in behavior. Specifically after finding some panties of hers filled with baby-making slut milk hidden at the bottom of the laundry bin, which I was taking care of. I tried to get her to talk about it, but she said that it must have been there since we'd broken up 2 years ago. This is not easy to deal with. I knew that she had cheated, she knew as well, but she pretended it was nothing and refused to talk about it.
Well, I mean, what do you expect? What do you expect? Like, come on, dude. Jesus.
She then started calling me needy and unattractive because I wasn't trusting her, and she then spent a couple of months destroying my ego before I dumped her and spiraled into depression, with suicide on my mind every single day.
Okay, bud. I get you're a simp, dude, but you're just taking a little too far with that suicide shit, man. Like, come on. Over a girl? Probably fat girl, too. Like, come on.
She also told everyone we knew, including relatives in my family, that I was a jealous control freak. I have, thanks to getting another perspective on life and swallowing the red pill, started to take action. I'm slowly getting my life and ego back together. If I'd not found out about MGTOW and your channel, I think I might have committed suicide. Thank you. I have no request, but I feel good being able to put this experience down in words. Feel free to use my story as an example. Just keep me anonymous. If you want, you can basically award me with the Simp of the Millennium Award. I wish you all the best. Well, Mr. Anonymous, thanks for your story. And I'll get to it in a sec, but first let me tell you about today's sponsor, the Dollhouse San Antonio, Texas. Now you can order dollhouse dolls from San Antonio, Texas. How about a date with curvaceous Anastasia? She won't treat you like an emotional tampon because she does... say very much. How about Nava?
She won't treat you like an emotional tampon because she won't say very much. Wow.
I'd suggest her with a thick, curvy body with a big booty if you like swirling with dolls. If you prefer something with more of an Asian persuasion, then the Sandman recommends Pixie. It's time to
Dude, uh,
trade shekels for some silicone jigglies. Once you get your hands on one, both you and the doll will scream out in ecstasy, "Oh God, oh yes, oh God, oh Sandman." Digital pimp link is in the description below. Anyways, now back to Mr. Anonymous, the simp of the year. No, the simp of the century. Hell no, the simp of the millennium. If I spoke to a woman and shared your story with her, Mr. Anonymous, she'd probably say something like, well, it's your own fault for falling in love with someone like that. It's your fault for what happened to you, and you have to take responsibility for it. More women than men tend to look at relationships with more reason and rationality, especially as they get older and are post wall. They also understand that when men fall in love, it's often to our detriment and to a woman's advantage. A woman won't interfere with a man making a bad move.
very true. Very true. Women know they have the power. And you're lying to yourself if you think in a modern day society men have the power in a sexual relationship. You're just tripping. Like, you're just tripping. You're tripping. Tripping. Like, my God.
How often have you actually heard a female friend or colleague say to stay away from a particular woman because it's a bad match? In this day and age, that's extremely rare. From my experience, women won't help men if it ends up hurting a woman. So they step aside and watch the car wreck of a man's life from the sidelines. Mr. Anonymous, why didn't your mother, sister, aunt, grandmother, or any other female you know tell you that this was actually a bad idea? Where were your male friends in all of this? But if a woman married a guy that pretended to be of higher status by pretending to be wealthier than he really is, then her female friends and family members wouldn't tell her that she's stupid for picking a guy that wasn't a good match and that was a liar. I know that that analogy isn't really apples for apples, but what I'm trying to say is when a man can't control himself and he falls for a hot single mother to be, it's the man's fault. But when a woman falls for a man that she thinks is wealthy and has good prospects in life, but he ends up failing or doesn't really have much in the end, then it's his fault.
It's always the dude's fault, apparently.
It's a double standard. In your case, Mr. Anonymous, the woman you got together with clearly never respected you from the moment you fell for her trap when she was pregnant. My guess is that before she got pregnant, she tried to get together with other guys that were of higher status, but that actually didn't end up working. So you were just the unfortunate simp that she ended up with as she worked her way down her cuck list. Women will never understand what it's like for a man to fall in love and lose his rational mind in the process. The closest for a woman is if a millionaire or billionaire asks them out on a date. That doesn't happen all that often for women. But as for men, a lot of
Very true. Very true.
guys get duped by attractive single mothers out there. Women that would be way out of their league if those women didn't have any children or were pregnant.
All the time. All the time.
For guys that fall for single mothers that would be out of their league if they weren't pregnant, suddenly the drugged up feeling they get from being with the most attractive woman they've ever been with in their lives, even though she's pregnant, makes them overlook their own rational best interests. It would be the equivalent of an ordinary woman being hit on by Mr. Grey from 50 Shades of Grey. There's a reason that series of books is so popular for women, because it involves a very high status male going for an extremely low status female. A woman that's approached by a man like that feels like she's won the lottery. That's the same way that many guys feel that are approached by a sweet single mother that's the best looking woman they've ever been with. They simply can't help themselves. Most men have no idea how the
It's just nature. It's just nature at the end of the day.
sexual marketplace works. In your case, Mr. Anonymous, the woman that will soon be your ex wife obviously exploited this. She told you she had another man's child because she was probably 3 or 4 months along and hadn't snagged a man yet. So she basically couldn't get an abortion because it was too late. So she needed a new way out. So she had to be honest. She also seems to be mentally unwell because she threw you out after simply talking about another woman. Yet she shrugs her independent woman 1980s shoulder pads when you question her on her cheating. She also
Independent woman shoulder pads, man. Ah, Jesus. All women today are independent. Strong, independent, happy. Yeah, just strong, independent, and happy, aka I'm a fucking hoe.
tried to get all your mutual friends and even your family members to turn against you. This is what many women do if you break up with them and they feel slighted. They go around and tell everyone how much of a terrible person you are. Perhaps that you didn't love them to begin with, even if you did. She called you a jealous, controlling jerk.
I'm willing to bet that women talk shit no matter what the circumstance, whether she broke up with you or you broke up with her. Woman's always gonna talk shit in her little friend group. Their little friends are always gonna talk shit about the dude. Always. Always gonna talk shit about the dude.
Meanwhile, she was the jealous one throwing you out and making you homeless with 2 broken arms because
Exactly.
she was jealous of you basically talking about another woman singing.
Exactly.
Quite often, when a relationship ends and the man ends it, the woman loses her mind and tries to get everyone to turn against him. What women say about you at that point is usually the stuff that they're actually guilty of themselves. She called you jealous, and she was the jealous one. She
Yep.
was the controlling one using sex to control you, too. I'm really glad that you found my channel and that it ended up saving your life. YouTube is amazing like that because now people can share information with one another online, be it medical, philosophical, financial, etc., and help better each other's lives. I know you
That's one good thing the internet's for. But overall, I'd say this thing right here, the internet, is a huge detriment to our society.
didn't really request a topic, but I hope that my analysis of your relationship is something that opens up your eyes even more than they are. This woman had the tenacity to put her panties covered in man custard in the hamper and expected you to wash them after seeing the stains and not complaining. I know that people say that the best place to hide something is in plain sight, but this is ridiculous. The more likely reason she was doing that was so that you would actually find them intentionally. That was her way of telling you that she completely thinks you're nothing more than a tool, and that she can do whatever she wants and you'll never complain about it. She probably wanted the drama and enjoyed every minute of destroying your ego, thinking that you would actually put up with her for life, no matter what she did. When you finally had enough and left, that was the last thing she was expecting you would ever do. After all, you got together with her when she was pregnant. Why would you ever leave her? You would be her emotional tampon and piggy bank provider for the rest of your life. Now she doesn't have that anymore, and I feel bad for her daughter, which you helped raise. I'm sure that kid was well connected to you. Too bad you can't actually do some
Probably
sort of
not.
custody battle and take your daughter away from her.
Probably
That
not.
would be absolutely hilarious.
Just won't
I'm just
happen.
glad you saw what you were actually doing in your life after your relationship while stumbling into my channel and taking the red pill. I always tell guys that the best time to learn about
Always take the red pill, never the blue pill.
MGTOW and absorb it like your ex absorbs sperm with her lingerie is right after a long relationship. That's when you're not white knighting and blinded by love. Therefore, you're more open to reason. My advice to you and any man out there that wants to red pill another man is to do it after his relationship ends. That's when he'll be most likely open to female nature. I want to end this video.
Wrong. 90% of the men of today can't handle a breakup. They can't handle anything emotionally taxing or, they can't. Mentally taxing. They just can't handle any of that. So I feel like uh, they would get offended and say you're talking shit about their ex or some bullshit that simps always fucking talk about. Cause yeah,
Video by saying that it's possible for one man to change the world. not through force, but through information. If he saves just one life, then the person he saved will bump into other people and cause ripples in time. I don't think that most guys understand the power they really have in the little things they do. That's what I now see that I've been doing on my channel. Every man I wake up, as well as other MGTOW channels that do the same, means that we are closer to exposing men to the simping behavior they've been putting out there without even realizing it. Most men have no one to guide them through their masculinity. And even if they attempt to be masculine without a proper roadmap, society shuts them down for having toxic masculinity. So they end up recoiling into themselves and stop expressing themselves.
Yeah, but if you fall victim to that, then you're not a masculine. You never have been, you never were, you never will be. If you can fall victim to that shit. So sorry, Sandman, but I have to disagree on that one.
Themselves. Mr. Anonymous, I don't know what the final trigger was for you to basically go your own way from your ex. It certainly doesn't sound like MGTOW because you discovered that later. But I think that women out there have worked so hard to beat men down psychologically over the last 20 years, most specifically, that when we actually finally have enough, there will be a society full of disgruntled men that will simply go their own way. They say that when you load cargo on a camel's back, that in the end all it takes is one straw that finally breaks that camel's back. She cheated on you, cucked you, threw you out, and nearly made you homeless. And still you kept coming back for more punishment. It was something relatively benign like attacking your self image and self esteem that finally led you to leave. She thought to herself that if she put you through all of that and you were still around, that you would continue to be there for the rest of your life. Even thirsty manginas and simps now have their limits, it seems. This is something that women need to understand. If you think that controlling your man through sex, love, and female validation is enough, while abusing him mentally and emotionally, then you will never see it coming when your companion finally dumps you. Women generally blow off a lot of steam talking to guys and complaining about what the guy's doing wrong in his life. It's rare for a woman to dump a guy that she really wants to be with if she's nagging him all the time to change. That means she's at least somewhat invested in the relationship. Anyways, that's all I got to say for today. Thanks again, Mr. Anonymous, for
Basically, what Sandman's saying is don't be a blue pill man. Right? Resist the coochie. Okay? If you're under the age of 30, if you're 30 or younger, including 29, um, don't worry. Just get your money. Don't be bothered with women. I tried. Not worth it. Not worth it. In the long run, not worth it. It might feel cool in the moment. Might be nice in the moment. In the long run, no point. Yeah, that was a tough video, man. That was a tough one. I can't lie, that was a tough one. But remember, peeps, stay truthful. God damn it, love yourself. Love yourself.